Welcome back, Focus Learners. Today we're diving into a brand new explainer, and this one is absolutely crucial for anyone in education. We are taking a hard, evidence-based look at how we can actually integrate technology into our classrooms in a meaningful way, mapping out the whole journey from primary school all the way up through high school. But look, before we get into the grade-by-grade breakdown, we really have to ask ourselves a pretty tough question. Is all this tech actually connecting our students to the world, or is it just isolating them behind screens? You know, so often what gets branded as innovation is really just an outdated instructional model tied up with a shiny digital bow. We end up accidentally building these digital one-room schoolhouses where kids just sit in silence, blindly clicking through predetermined paths.
So, how do we avoid that trap? Well, we anchor ourselves to this brilliant idea from Adam Bellow. He says, if you can do this lesson without technology, that's great, but if you can do it better with technology, then that's why you use it. Literally, tasks before apps, that's the golden rule here. Our pedagogy, our actual learning goals, those have to come before the shiny new tools.
Okay, let's lay out the roadmap for today. We're going to start with the underlying philosophy and frameworks. Then we'll explore strategies tailored for primary, middle, and high school, and finally we'll look at how tech can actually give teachers their time back.
All right, let's jump right into the philosophy of it all. Tasks before apps. To get our mindset right, we really need to sidestep the whole EdTech versus analog debate entirely. We're just interested in what works best, period. True integration means 1 + 1 = 3. When you properly integrate a digital tool into a lesson, the sum actually becomes greater than its individual parts. The tech isn't just a fancy delivery system, it's actively adding to the experience in a way that just wouldn't be possible with standard paper and pencil.
Moving right along to the frameworks, we'll be looking at SAMR, TPACK, and PICRAT.
Now, to consistently get that 1 + 1 = 3 magic, we need a system so we aren't drowning in an ocean of app choices. Enter the SAMR model. This is an absolute cornerstone. It maps out how tech usage shifts from simple substitution, like, say, typing an essay instead of handwriting it, all the way up through augmentation, modification, and finally, redefinition. Redefinition is where the tech lets you create entirely new tasks that were previously inconceivable. Think globally published digital storytelling. And hey, you don't have to live at the top of this ladder every single day. It's just a really handy toolbox to reflect on how a tool is actually transforming your task.
Then we have TPACK. Think of this one as your ultimate lesson planning inventory. Before you even look at an app, you figure out your content knowledge. Like, what are you actually teaching? And your pedagogical knowledge. How are you going to teach it? It's only where those two things intersect that you finally layer in the technological knowledge. You find the exact digital tool that fits that specific blend of content and strategy.
And rounding out our frameworks is the PICRAT matrix. This asks a wonderfully simple but vital question. Are your students being passive consumers of technology, or are they interactive creators? We really want to flip the script here. Instead of viewing screens as just passive information machines, we want to see them as paintbrushes, tools that allow students to creatively interact with and really build upon what they're learning.
All right, let's shift gears and talk about our youngest learners, scaffolding early tech.
So for early childhood, tech integration is all about being highly intentional and minimizing unnecessary screen time. It's a gradual release of responsibility. First, the teacher models the tool extensively. Then you move to co-use, where the teacher and the student navigate the interface together. Only then do you hit step 3, independent use. And even then, it is heavily scaffolded with visual rubrics or recognizable icons to help early readers out. Independence isn't expected overnight. It's built systematically, step by step.
Now, let's jump up to middle school, where it's all about expanding student choice. As kids hit adolescence, their needs totally change, right? And this is where tech can really shine, by giving them a voice. Middle schoolers thrive on having choices, so by offering flexible pathways to demonstrate their learning, maybe they record a podcast, shoot a video essay, or design a digital zine, you're empowering them to lean into their unique creative strengths, all while still hitting those core learning objectives. It's a total win-win.
But we do have to be a little careful here. We've got to critically compare platforms that just isolate kids in these predetermined bubbles against platforms that actually foster collaboration. Things like Padlet or Jamboard. Those are stellar examples of true integration because they spark student-to-student communication. They let peers bounce ideas around, give feedback, and really dive into the kind of discourse that deepens adolescent understanding.
Moving on to high school, this is where authentic digital citizenship takes center stage.
High schoolers are practically swimming in a massive, complex sea of digital information and news on social media. Because of this, the priority shifts big time. Effective integration at this level means utilizing amazing resources like the News Literacy Project to explicitly teach students how to validate sources, spot AI-generated content, and pick apart biased language. It's absolutely crucial to teach them how to impartially test different viewpoints, and maybe most importantly, how to maintain kindness and civility online, regardless of whatever heated geopolitical discussions are happening out in the real world.
Now, here's a funny paradox for you. Sometimes the absolute best tech integration strategy in high school is knowing exactly when to shut the screens off entirely. Seriously. With generative AI basically everywhere now, educators are turning back to structured, in-person discussions. Think microlabs or concentric circle protocols. These analog formats are incredible, AI-proof assessments. They let teachers authentically evaluate a student's analytical and argumentative skills in real time, face-to-face.
All right, let's look at the other side of the desk. How tech can actually assist teachers.
Let's totally flip our perspective for a second and talk about the educator's reality, because a massive part of meaningful integration is using these tools to lift the crushing administrative burden off of teachers' shoulders. Get this, research shows the average teacher is working nearly 11 hours a day. 11! And 3 of those hours are totally unpaid, just completely eaten up by lesson planning, grading, and admin tasks. We desperately need productivity tools that give teachers their lives back.
This is where modern tech, especially AI, swoops in to do the heavy lifting. Think about it. Tools like TextBlaze can automate those repetitive grading comments. Platforms like Diffit or Magic School AI, they can take a single text and instantly spin it out into multiple reading levels for a diverse classroom. And things like Edthena offer asynchronous video coaching, so teachers can get valuable feedback without the scheduling nightmare of in-person observations. The goal here isn't to replace the teacher, not at all. It's to reclaim the teacher's time.
Which brings us to our final thought for today. Whether you're scaffolding a first grader's very first app, guiding a middle schooler's podcast, picking apart media with a high schooler, or just streamlining your own grading on a Sunday night, the core question is exactly the same. Take a hard look at your classroom and ask yourself, is your technology merely replacing traditional learning, or is it truly redefining what is possible? Keep that question front and center, and your integration will always hit the mark. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. See you next time.